Welcome back to the Benefits Insider. I'm your host, Chris Hamilton, and today I want to share with you strategies on how to improve the usability and the employee satisfaction with your company's benefits program without making drastic changes to the program itself. Now that might seem crazy and you're thinking, well, how can I get better benefits without making any changes? If you want to use your benefits to attract or retain talent, you have to offer something they can't get anywhere else. Well, let me start by asking you a question. Have you ever bought something and when you finally get it, it doesn't do quite what you thought it would, or it doesn't work the way you expected? That's happened to me. Recently, I bought some software thinking that it would be able to generate some reports inside the business and have certain functionality, but then when you actually get it, which isn't that always the case with software sales, you get it and it doesn't work the way the demo did, and it doesn't work the way I expected or needed it to. And how does that make you feel? I was extremely frustrated. I felt like the product was no good. It just wasn't good for my situation. So think about health insurance. A couple things I always think through is, in questions I ask employers is, have you ever bought something and it doesn't quite work the way you thought it would? How did it make you feel? But secondly, how well do the employees inside of your company understand how health insurance works, but also how healthcare buying works? So think about when somebody goes to the doctor, or they need to get a prescription, or they need a major medical service. How well do they understand that process? And what we typically find is most people don't understand health insurance adequately, and they also are conditioned based on historical use of an insurance plan, how insurance should cover things, which in today's world, it's, things change. And so the concept here is helping your employees understand how their insurance works, having the right expectation so that when they go to use it, they're getting the intended result or the expected result. So we're thinking about how do we temper expectation and reality. When reality doesn't meet those expectations, what happens? It's frustration, it's friction. And what do your employees think when that happens? I thought I was going to the doctor, it was going to be $50, but it turned out to be $250. What is that employee thinking? My benefits aren't any good. But in reality, when you look at your benefits as a decision maker, you're thinking, wow, we offer some of the top benefits in our industry. And this was something that really hit home for me with a client that we've got that literally, probably that if you were to do a stack ranking of their benefit program nationally, and I'm talking from small businesses all the way to the largest global company in the world, just think of the best benefits you could possibly have. This company has those benefits. Super low deductible, 100% coverage, almost free doctor visits and medications and whatnot. It's super rich benefits. And as we went through an enrollment process a couple of years ago, a couple of the employees relayed to me that their benefit program wasn't that good. And my first thought was, what planet are you living on? You have the best benefits that I've ever seen anywhere, anytime, any company in the world, yet you don't think they're very good. Expectation didn't meet reality. And so it really forced me to question, why was that? And if an employee that literally has the best benefits I've ever seen in the world has that feeling, what's the feeling that employees that have just normal benefits, what does that look like for them? And what I realized in that moment was it wasn't the quality of the benefits that was the problem. It was the education that employee had about what benefits they had, how they would work when they needed to use them, and really helping them set the expectation of what the reality was going to be when they used it. So we've had employers that have, I would just call it less than average benefits, but the employee satisfaction when we interview those employees or we survey them, they're happy with the benefits. Why? Because they understand what the benefits are, they understand how to use them, and they know what's going to happen when they go to a doctor or pharmacy or go to a hospital. So expectation is meeting reality. That friction is removed. And when you think about health insurance, it's really expensive for most of us. It's expensive for families, especially. Employee-only costs may be low or free even, but there is a pretty sizable cost anytime you add dependents onto those plans. And so how do we help people feel comfortable and happy with the choice that they make? They really need to understand what they buy. If you're like a lot of companies out there, you do one of two things when it's time for open enrollment. You either send out information online, or maybe it's booklets that you hand out. Employees read the information and they're left to their own devices to figure out what plan is the right one for them. They go online, they sign up, and they're off to the races when they get a new ID card, right? Or maybe you're one of those employers that has these large group open enrollment meetings where you pull 30 to 50 people in a room and your broker stands up in front of the room and explains what a deductible is. We used to do that with our clients as well. And I realized very quickly that's not an efficient use of your company's resources from a manpower standpoint, because you're pulling a lot of people out of the workforce to listen to something they may not even want to listen to. One of the things I noticed when I would scan around the room, the number of people that were on their phones, they're on Facebook or Instagram, they're doing something else. They don't care about the message, because guess what? Tons of information that wasn't relevant to them was being scattershot. You're talking about the amount of information that's being passed around at open enrollment. You're talking about a couple of medical plans, maybe 3, some dental plans, vision, life. The list goes on, and this booklet may be 25 or 30 pages long. People zone out. There's a ton of information, and what I learned in that process was that people wanted the information that was important to them. And if you're like some of our clients, they wanted to do it in an efficient way that didn't disrupt the business day, which is why I think a lot of companies have moved away from doing group enrollment meetings to just passing out information to their employees. They'll let their employees read it and sign up as they will. Well, the problem with that is that your employees, as they're looking through this booklet that your broker puts together, as nice as it may be, it doesn't really explain how health insurance works. And I know this firsthand because as I ask people that I'm talking to, hey, how does this, I get questions like, what is coinsurance? What's the difference between my deductible and my out-of-pocket? Do my copays go to my deductible or out-of-pocket, or how does all that treated? And mind you, some of these people asking these questions are CPAs, they're attorneys, they're bankers, all the way to plumbers and electricians. And it doesn't matter the industry. Insurance, particularly health insurance, is confusing for a lot of people. I get it. I'm in the industry too. I live and breathe this. I do this for a living. I design a lot of these plans, and there's still times that I have to stop for a second and say, wait a minute, how is that plan set up? How does that insurance going to cover this particular issue? Now, I have to go back and look it up. So there's no wonder to me why employees don't understand a lot of these things. It can be confusing. But if you think about all the information that's being tossed out at open enrollment, it's very voluminous. There's tons of information that's being thrown out. People have the ability to retain probably 10% or less of what's being explained to them. And so really what we have found, you have this one extreme, which is we're going to do these group meetings, tell people a whole lot of information and hope that some of it sticks. Employers, a lot of them realize that's not really an efficient use of company resources, because you're paying these people to sit in these meetings and they're not doing work. So we're just going to give them the information and hope that they read it and hope that they understand it. Well, what we find is that, again, people don't understand it. They go to use their benefits. There's this disconnect between expectations and reality, creating friction. So how have we solved this issue? And I want to share with you 3 things that you can do that shouldn't cost you any money, that are going to, 1, educate your employees exactly how your specific benefits work. And it's going to provide relevant information to your employees that they want to know, not scattershotting, like throwing mud against the wall to see what sticks. That's the group enrollment meeting process. But 2, it's going to provide continuous information to your employees as they want it or as they are able to receive it. But 2, being able to provide year-round information to your employees about how their benefits work, and also to remind them of the valuable benefits that you as an employer provide to them. So I mentioned the group enrollment meeting process, and that has gone away. That was trending. We were trending away from that even before COVID happened, but I think COVID really accelerated that. People didn't want to gather in groups in 2020 and 21, and so it forced a lot of companies to rethink how they educate their employees with benefits. A lot of people moved the group meeting from in-person to Zoom or Teams meetings, and those probably became even less efficient because people have their camera off. They're just working on their email. They're not really picking the information up. So the model that we've moved to, and is something that we provide to our clients that want it, and most of them use this model now, is being able to provide one-on-one counselor-assisted information and enrollment to each of your employees. And this accomplishes a couple of things. One, it's a more streamlined process. So think about the group meetings. Everybody has to jump on a Zoom meeting, or everybody has to show up in person, and a big chunk of your workforce is non-productive, and many of them aren't really even listening to the information being shared. In a one-on-one situation, you can sit down like this via video or in person or by phone, and you have a counselor that will walk you through one-on-one the benefits that are being offered to you. But more importantly, when you think about the context, I may only be interested in medical insurance and dental. Or you may have somebody that's going to waive medical. They don't even want to talk about that, but they want to know how the dental and the life insurance works, or an accident plan. So the information can be customized to that specific individual, what they want to know, but it also gives them that opportunity to ask questions. In a group setting, a lot of times people won't ask those questions for fear of talking in front of a group, or they don't want their personal information being shared in a group. But in a one-on-one setting, they're happy to have that conversation. So it allows you two things. It's more efficient for both the employee and the employer, but two, it allows this customization of information and questions to be shared and answered. So that's a big push that we've made. We do that for open enrollments. We do it when we bring on new hires. So if you're a company, think about your particular industry. You may have a high turnover. You're hiring 30, 50, 100 people in a month. Well, how do we give those people that same experience, to an opportunity to learn about their benefits, know exactly how they work, so that their expectation can meet the reality when they go to use them? Use that same process where they can talk to somebody one-on-one to get the information and to enroll. But what about continuous throughout the year? How do we educate employees? So if you think about open enrollment, somebody that's going to go through that process, there's still a lot of information to digest. They get the booklet, they look through it, they talk to a counselor. But you know what? There's a lot of really cool things that your company probably does that employees do not know about, or they don't remember because it was mentioned in a conversation during open enrollment. So that's where these customized, we call them communication campaigns, where you're providing video, you're providing text messaging, you're providing bite-sized learning opportunities. Maybe it's newsletters to your employees on a monthly or bi-monthly or semi-monthly basis, where employees are receiving information that reminds them, oh, my employer provides this specific benefit. I forgot about that. I'm going to go ahead and use it. And so we use that a lot of times for some of the customized programs that we run. Maybe it's a company's paying for direct primary care, or maybe they've got a specialty surgical program, or a wellness campaign. There's a number of things that should be highlighted that are probably offered. If you're using just a plain vanilla generic, you name the carrier, Blue Cross, United Healthcare, Cigna, they've got wellness programs. They've got all sorts of things that are bundled at gym memberships. They got all sorts of things that are probably bundled into your benefit program that your employees don't even know about. And those are opportunities, and I call them missed opportunities, to be able to educate your employees on other benefits they have available to them for what they're already paying, help them get the most out of the program. Therefore, they feel like they're getting something for what they pay. They're generally happier with what they're doing. So to wrap all of this up, these are two strategies that a broker should be able to do for you at no cost. If anything, without any sort of changes to your benefit program, these are going to increase the awareness of the benefits that you offer. It's going to help educate your employees as to the benefits that they've got access to. It's going to help them understand what to expect, so that when they use them, expectation meets reality, removing that friction, creating goodwill for your company. Because I've heard it too many times, when benefits don't work the way employees expect them to, all they see is, I pay a lot of money for health insurance or dental, you name the benefit. I pay a lot of money for this and I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. And there's frustration, it's friction. But when you remove that, it creates goodwill. And we've seen it across the board. My benefits are better. My company has good benefits. Those are survey results that we get for clients that we didn't really even change anything in their benefits. It's just the way it was communicated and continuously educated throughout that year. I think this is a real opportunity that if you're not doing, you should absolutely implement. Even more so when you're making changes and adopting concepts of the Benefits Insider approach. it makes even more sense to make sure that these are being communicated effectively so that members can get the most out of those. I hope these 2 tips were helpful for you. If you've got questions or further questions on how you can adopt this into your business, you don't even have to wait for open enrollment to do it. It's actually more advantageous in some cases to start using these communication strategies during the year, ramping into this next open enrollment season. But if you've got questions on how this might look for your business, feel free to reach out to me. You can also check out case studies and other examples on our Benefits Insider website. But until next time, take care.